Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Fnatic.EU and RoX.KiS. That's the Radical Online Extremists there. This is part of the We Play Dota 2 tournament. It's in the Phase 2, Group B, and yeah, these are going to be the preliminary stages to decide who's going winner bracket, who's going losers bracket, to kind of sort out those groups in the GSL style. But I myself and Blaze going to be joined by Maruna today. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me on. This game is gonna be interesting. I think Fnatic has been very, very strong recently, although they're kinda down to a 4.5-man roster as Fly is not playing their games most of the time, so they're playing with a stand-in. Do you know the stand-in? I haven't seen that name ever.
I honestly have not, so I haven't seen the icon, seen the name or anything like that. So hopefully they've had some practice with him and maybe just scrims or something like that, but I honestly haven't seen that individual myself.
I checked his Steam profile, but even his aliases wouldn't tell me anything, so I don't know who it is. It is not Synderen, who's usually standing in. But RoX.KiS have not shown the best performance recently, so we have to see what's going on with them. Apart from that, the draft looks very, very normal so far. We have a Wisp ban, and we have a Darkseer ban, and now I very much hope for a Kotl ban.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best courses of action in this situation here. If you're up against this circumstance where you're dealing with both a Phantom Lancer and a Keeper Light in lane, it's going to be much more difficult for you to be able to take the late game because not only is Phantom Lancer a great late game carry, but Keeper Light is one of those heroes that can project a carry into the late game so well, giving him room to farm, giving him sustainability in his mana pool, and using late game utilities like the Recall and the Blinding Light to play some very, very interesting style of Dota. But nevertheless, that's probably going to be the last ban, but also have to look at this Bat Rider. That's something that could be picked up by their mid player there, and Solo has used that very effectively in this situation here. So, I don't know, Nyx Assassin and Darkseer taken out as well as IO. But we'll have to see what Fnatic leaves on through. Of course, they still want plenty of good pickups themselves, but interestingly enough, it doesn't seem like RoX is drafting against them. Darkseer and Nyx Assassin, they're great heroes as far as their potential in this kind of tier of metagame, but honestly it's not something that Fnatic favors. It's not, they like to be mobile, and they like to be active all over the map, and early on Nyx doesn't really have that potential until Vendetta ranks up, and Darkseer also needs about a gooder 7, 8, 9 levels before he actually gets going.
Yeah, of course, they're still two very, very strong heroes, and you don't want to have it up against you as well. So just banning it out, even though the team might not pick it, is just a good idea. Darkseer is, I did some statistics on the defense game, and he was picked or banned in, I think, almost all games. So it's pretty standard to see him here. And Fnatic are really thinking about that. I think they're not sure if they want to ban that Bat Rider or if they want to ban a Kotl or a PL, because they're not sure if they want to go up against Kotl and PL, which could certainly be the case. And just, yeah, letting their extra time pass. Or maybe they want to go for a no-ban strategy, just banning out Wisp and then waiting. That
would be very, very interesting. I mean, no, they're going to take out the Prophet, which is pretty interesting there, but it's not entirely surprising. It's something that Dread, or currently listed, tagged up as Bread, actually kind of like that switch over of names. But anyways, either way, he would be picking up the Nature's Prophet if he had the opportunity, but now we see that banned out, and instead the Bat Rider is drafted up. I'm curious to see if the Kotl and PL is something that Fnatic wants to look into. They love that kind of style where you can split push like crazy and use things like Recall to make that a non-issue as far as somebody being behind enemy lines there. But either way, the Bat Rider is going to put out some pressure here, go on the mid lane, presumably. I mean, he could jungle, he could technically off lane as well, but most of the time Solo picks him up on the mid there and just tries to get that early Blink Dagger to put some aggression out.
I could actually see a puck pick coming out from Fnatic, because it has kind of been coming back into the meta suddenly. Like 1 or 2 weeks ago, everyone started picking puck out of no reason. Suddenly it was there in the finals of the defense, and I think in Starlet as well, and they might pick that up now and just don't give a crap about Kotl. Or they pick it.
So we do see that there. I think it's a really good selection because RoX had 2 picks coming up, and they didn't want to give them both together. So in this situation, by banning out the Furion, yes, you risk the Kotl or the PL being picked up first, and usually you don't pick up PL first by himself. But in that situation, you can always just pick up their counterpart. You can pick up the other one and make sure it's not going to be an option. So that's kind of what they did here with the picking up of the Ezreal themselves. They strengthen their lanes a lot, but they're going to be going up against a very, very difficult combination of heroes, Lifestealer and Shadow Demon. Together, they're not that big of a deal, but unless you pick up a Bane in this next selection, which they only have so much reserve time to work with here, it's going to be difficult to take that Lifestealer in the late game. The Lone Druid can Orb of Venom slow him and get the Entangles off, but you're not going to have that Demonic Purge, you're not going to have that Lasso, because both of those have been picked up by RoX themselves.
PL would be a strong pick against Lifestealer, since Lifestealer has a big problem dealing with illusions, but Shadow Demon is such a natural counter to PL, since he can just disrupt the PL and suddenly there are PLs fighting for Fnatic as well. So we're gonna wait for 3 seconds. They're really digging into their extra time, and they pick up a Rubik. Obviously, Rubik is actually the most picked hero at the moment. At least it was in the defense, and that was over 150 games. He's actually the most picked hero.
Yeah, I don't doubt his potency. I'm just kind of curious in this situation what they're really looking to accomplish with the Rubik. Telekinesis, pulling him into the Illuminate, really, really powerful. Easy to coordinate between what it would be, I guess it's either Hani or No-Tail going on the support. They've been switching it up quite a bit recently as far as their mid or support, but either way, the stand-in coordinating with whoever goes on the support, it would be really, really easy to do that with the Telekinesis and the Illuminate, so maybe it's just kind of for ease of use, but other than that, I'm not seeing too much potential as far as spell steal go. I mean, Batrider has a couple of good spells to steal. Rubik can maybe Rage TP out if he steals from Lifestealer, but really, I think the only thing they really want to get their hands on is either the Disruption or Demonic Purge to throw it at the Lifestealer and get a little bit of peel and disable for their lineup, which otherwise has very little. So I guess that's the mindset behind it, but honestly, you usually pick up Rubik in a situation where you see much more juicy spells to pick up, and in this situation, it's kind of still a good pick. It'll still work very well for their lanes. It's just not going to be the most deciding factor.
Oh, well, there's still 2 heroes missing for RoX.KiS, so they can still be 2 big ultimates to steal, and they rather pick up their second support now, so they have Rubik and Keeper of the Light, instead of getting it banned, so they have to, I don't know, pick like a Jakiro or something if they rather want to have a Rubik. And of course the first ban from RoX.KiS is that PL, so they're not gonna get that. And they're gonna look into maybe another carry, or they're just gonna farm the Lone Druid, but they could pick up that Gyrocopter, because it's like flavor of the month at the moment. Everyone's picking Gyrocopter and buying Divines.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely powerful. It has a lot of potency in the late game sense, no matter what you're up against. And honestly, like, he's one of those heroes that just doesn't care. You can literally be any composition, but unless you're going for massive single target disables, as long as he can get the right clicks off, that flat hit and does so much damage. So it's definitely something they could look to add some potency to the lineup in a carry role. But yeah, I know that they can run the Lone Druid as a carry. Technically, they have in a couple months past, but recently I don't think so. I think they've mostly been putting Trixie out on the offlane there and utilizing that bear's potential to aggro the creeps to try to make sure that the Lone Druid gets some stable golden experience, and that probably seems to be the intention behind that. But of course, like you said, he's flexible, and we'll have to see exactly what they opt to do with that. Still 2 more picks available for Fnatic. Right now, the mid heroes and the carries are being banned out by RoX, and that's definitely the 2 roles that they're looking to fill. Trying to think of if there's anything else that and now that No-Tail's Batrider and Puck have been banned out, if there's any chance for him to be even going on the mid lane this round.
Yeah, it could still be a Storm Spirit. After I saw Korok's Rampage and Storm Spirit yesterday, I'm in a Storm Spirit fever, so they can still pick that for mid. Apart from that, they can put the Rubik mid, but I don't think that's gonna happen, so they could pick up a Queen of Pain, for example. So Queen of Pain is also decent against Batrider if they decide to put Batrider there. It's funny to see, because have you noticed that recently there are like no jungle heroes picked up at all, apart from sometimes a Batrider, but there's no more Chen, no more Enigma, no more Enchantress. It's really strange.
Yeah. It's a different mentality. It's a little bit less emphasis on push recently. The Lone Druid seems to be supplementing that. I mean, you can't count out that No-Tail could still be technically looking for a Chen, but yeah, it's a much lower priority. It's really, they know its potency, they know that it has a lot of opportunities, but there's a couple things that I think that people really don't like about drafting up those kind of jungle heroes. One is the RNG of the jungle, where if you don't get good spawns, then there is a limiting factor in your early game, where it might be more difficult for you to gank or push. But another thing is just in this position here, if they want to start roaming on about, Chen and Enchantress are some of the weakest heroes to do so, because they always are tied to their own jungle or that of the opposition's. And it's going to be difficult for them to put more pressure out on the lane. So I think that that's something to keep in mind here. But either way, yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, the Nature's Prophet sometimes finds its way to the jungle, but the Chen Enchantress kind of being played down quite a bit of late.
No, it's sad actually, because I like those 2 heroes. I play Enchantress all the time myself, and now Fnatic, it's kind of hard to see what they're going for, because so far they have a little bit of push, a little bit of teamfight with Keeper of the Light, and a little bit of roam with Rubik, and now they have to put in a little bit, like a flavor. What are they gonna do? They could pick up a Void as their hard carry and then just illuminate Chronosphere, or they could pick up a Naga Siren and do the same. Now they have to decide what they actually want to do in this game, what their overall strategy is, because so far it's really like general picks. You can play anything with this.
Yeah, it's a very flexible lineup, and well, I'm not exactly sure where they want to go with it here, but a lot of different options, and they have all the setup in the world. They just need to kind of have that follow through, that little bit of extra oomph, that damage output, and I think that that's going to be something they look to draft up very, very shortly. The Batrider, like I said, has a couple different options, but in this position here, I can't imagine him going anywhere else but mid. And then Lifestealer Shadow Demon will be going on a defensive tri lane down on bottom. I mean, they could put pressure if Fnatic picks up a hard late game carry, and that's something RoX has to consider. But there's only so many left out on the board. Faceless Void isn't really Era's style anymore, and I definitely think that if it's late enough here, if it's a squishy hero that they can really, really punish for being drafted up, then I think they will opt for the aggressive tri lane, but otherwise are just going to be happy to go and just defensively farm up that Lifestealer, make sure that he gets some solid farm there. The Disruption's okay for limiting the Lone Druid as far as his bear moving on around, and they can do things like that, but it's still, the bear is going to be able to accomplish what he intends unless they get some really good stuns off. The Lina pick is it's all about finding pickoffs on heroes. Once you land the disruption, you pretty much guarantee a light strike array, and then follow through after that with the open wounds. You have a really powerful tri lane with a lot of kill potential, and what's great about this is it's so flexible. You can, like I said, run it aggressive. It's harder to do against the keeper unless you get some good wards up, but it's still going to be an effective tri lane one way or another.
So I think the last pick for RoX.KiS could very well be a Bounty Hunter. A, because it could go off lane, or as well as safe lane farm if they want to go aggressive tri lane. And B, it's also red, so that would fit in very well with the color.
Nice, nice.
The colors. Because it's kind of team red so far. And they pick up a Gyrocopter, so there goes the damage at the Divine.
Yeah, that's a lot of potential there. I mean, it can burst down low HP supports like Lina and Shadow Demon very, very quickly. Another thing to mention is Shadow Demon and Lina are less apt to get a mechanism early on. The Shadow Demon build of Poison Touch, the Shadow Poison, has been a lot more common of late, and so when you're ranking that up, you need to support your mana pool. You need to get Arcane Boots early on. But that delays mechanisms, and that means Gyrocopter's Flat Cannon and AoE damage in general is going to be that much more dangerous here. So I really, really think that if they don't go for a Basilius or a Buckler or Mechanism, anything like that, early on, they're going to find some trouble. That's why things like the Clockwork might be a little bit more promising, because he does like to build up the mechanism there. But with the Darkseer and the Clockwork Band, yeah, it seems like Bounty Hunter is probably one of the few heroes that will fit into their lineup as effectively as that. So, yeah, I think that would probably be their best course of action, getting some good momentum with the track gold and so on and so forth. But they got 8 seconds, and we'll have to see what they come up with.
5 seconds
and now
remaining.
it's exciting, and before I say anything, I want to see what they pick. And they pick a Slaughter!
Well,
wow.
ruining your team red at the very least. Just kind of throwing a wrench in the works there. Fishy comes out to play. But Slaughter is very, very interesting here in this scenario. I'm almost curious if they want to go for an aggressive tri lane with a safe lane farming individual. I don't know. I've seen Slaughter mid, and he just bottle crows incessantly and goes for a lot of continuous regen through just having the courier fly back and forth over and over. And he can really control the mid lane acceptably. But beyond that, I guess it's just a lot of stun and a lot of physical damage output. If you put a Soul Catcher and an amplified damage on a target, that Lifestealer is just going to chew through people so darn quickly. But going through, we have this Bane pickup, which I was always considering in the back of my mind. Rubik and Bane are both acceptable mid-heroes. They're not the best, but they have their potential to do what they want. And I think that means that if we do have Rubik or Bane on the mid, that they're going to get some good experience to do some more nuke damage, a lot more magic burst damage, or I guess pure damage with the brain sap. But either way, what they're going to be able to accomplish with this is a heck of a lot of disable. They can steal the demonic purge, they can just use telekinesis or blinding light. That will force out the rage, and from there they can go on in and go with the Fiend's Grip, lock him down that way. And I think Business Perfect is going to have a hard time staying on target unless Bread goes for big disables, goes for either lucky bashes or successful slithering crushes on the Bane to interrupt that big ultimate there.
10 seconds remaining.
Actually, if you think about it, Slaughter is not so different from Bounty Hunter. He has a low cooldown ultimate which makes you able to see targets. He has a passive that deals damage. He has a spell that makes him run fast, and he has a stun. So it's not that different.
Yeah,
it's just that Slaughter is played usually not offlane because he can't get out that easy.
Yeah.
And we have a little tactical pause in the beginning.
Yeah, big tactics coming out. You know, those big
Well,
who's buying
Bellini.
wards, who's buying chicken, big tactics. But yeah, I guess yeah, he has a lot of similar ideas, but I don't think Vision's going to be that big of a factor with Solo on the Bat Rider. During the daytime, it's like so broken. It's actually bugged out from the difference between Dota 1 and Dota 2. So when you're Fireflied up during the daytime, you just have full clear vision, like 1600. And you're generally going to be able to get the initiation off one way or another. But if the Gyrocopter went for a Shadow Blade or something like that, the amplified damage would definitely be a great utility to keep tabs on him constantly. So yeah, I'm curious to see how these lanes will play out. We do have Hani on the Bane, and No Tail is picking up the Rubik here. Magic Stick on the mid. It looks like, yeah, he wants to go up against 1 versus 1 against that Bat Rider.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quickly run over RoX.KiS, who are all heading top to apparently invade the Dire's jungle. We have Solo playing the Bat Rider, Beatus is perfect on Nakes, Vanscore on Shadow Demon, Dread is playing Slaughter, very nice wordplay, and Yol is on the Lina.
Sure enough, they're actually going to smoke up here. They really, really want to put some pressure on No Tail, and he is a very, very slow hero indeed. 290 MS, roaming on about his jungle, just loping on through. It looks like he's going to be able to turn back towards the mid lane, which may make him relatively safe, but yeah, they really, really want blood right here. Biz is perfect in the front. He has that open wounds potential. Bong score right behind him with that disruption. They can really lock down one person hardcore. The question is whether they can go for a skirmish. If it was a 5v5, it'd be a little more difficult, but I honestly think they had the advantage in that situation as well. Light Strike, Ray, Slither, and Crush, very powerful tools in an early level 1 fight, so I really think that they were pretty much prepared for anything, but unfortunately coming up short. 20 seconds away from the match start, and Hani, Era, and the stand-in, Lentava Sergeli, is they're all pretty much all set up on the Tier 1 tower up here, and not really going to have any issue in this situation. But check out the aggressive tri-lane that's actually shaped itself up. Going for this ward, blocking off the pull, and then Yol, Vonscore, and Bread all going up on this top lane here, combining together Slaughter. No, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they're going to go all 3 top. Lina, Shadow Demon, Slaughter, that's a hell of a tri-lane when you consider all of the stuns that just drop over and over and over again. And the Fnatic doesn't really have an answer for it right now. I mean, the Bane is great to disrupt things with the Nightmare, but beyond that, they have some good damage output, and they're going to have to use it very carefully, because otherwise they're just going to get perma-stunned.
RoX.KiS is investing a lot into this top lane. They have 2 wards out in the jungle already, and they use the smoke to try to get a first blood. So they really want to win this. And now Shadow Demon is going to find Hani, but he can't do anything, so they're just going to trade a few blows.
Yeah, Vonscore has a couple sentries up, so they're really willing to play ball with these ward wars and just kind of go back and forth, getting the vision up. And I think that the dewarding here on this observer ward down in this central area is actually extremely important. By the Keeper of Light not having vision in that position, he can't walk over there and go for some flanking illuminates without risking himself getting disrupted and the follow-through coming in from Yol and Bread. So I think it's really, really good that they were able to take that off the board. And I've got to say, I think that top lane is right now very far in favor of RoX.KiS. We'll see how that shapes up as skirmishes go forward, but checking out the other lanes real quick, we do have Bat Rider going head-to-head with Rubik. Because No Tail picked up that Magic Stick and still will have a bottle with relatively good time, I think No Tail will be okay in this lane, but 1 versus 1 Bat Rider versus Rubik, you're still going to have to hand it to the Bat Rider in the end. We do see some pings coming out, maybe some action up on the top lane. There's the disruption. Going to look for that Light Strike right onto the Bane. It does connect, but unfortunately, Slaughter very, very far away, not even being involved in this. Of course, he only has a few crushes available with his low mana pool.
They want to show that they're strong, they want to scare them off a little bit, but Keeper of the Light really needs to get some more money to buy those sentry wards, and then they need to start pulling, else this will favor RoX.KiS in the end. It's just the question what Slaughter is going to do with levels and farm, if he's going to buy a Blink Dagger and a BKB to be some sort of initiator similar to Tide. It's interesting because we don't see Slaughter that often. He's not like the super surprise pick like a Troll or whatever would be, but he's still... It's difficult to put him on a certain role because he deals damage, he's sort of a ganker in a way, and he's sort of an initiator.
Yeah, he has some semi-carry potential, but he's generally played in an initiating sense. In this case, he's actually kind of being the follow-through more than the initiation itself. But I'm curious to see exactly how it plays into it. If they're just trying to amplify damage, whoever Solo is able to pick off with a Lasso Blink, or something along those lines, it's hard to say. But I think it'll add up pretty quickly. We do see No-Tail take some hits on mid. He has 4 napalm stacks up, and the flame break put him right back into the fire. So he's actually diving right now. Solo going on in. He knows he doesn't have telekinesis, but the bottle comes back up, and Solo is going to take a large number of hits here. No-Tail walking away, sipping up his bottle, and using his magic stick, but Solo is actually the one that takes the worst end of the trade, and he's going to have to bottle crow it up in order to stay on the lane. Meanwhile, Regeneration Rune coming out for the Rubik. Very, very fortunate for No-Tail.
Pretty passive game so far. There's not much kill potential in the middle if they're being careful and if they know what they can do and what they can't do. Bottom line is just farm, 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 and top line is... Fnatic are being careful. They know if they get caught out into a disruption, Lina stun and Slaughter Crutch, they are dead. So they stay back and they are careful and rather give away a few last hits and not die first blood.
Yeah. Interesting matchup between the Light Shield and the Lone Druid. It's not something you see very commonly, but Business Perfect is playing it extremely well. Right now, 18 last hits, almost the same in denies, and he's actually just been able to do so much to this bear. With the ranking of the Feast, it's a high HP target. He just munches on top of that, life steals away, even doing some harassment on Trixie with this Orb of Venom, getting as many right clicks in as possible. But yeah, the big thing here...
Oh, No-Tail.
Oh, in mid. Yeah, big damage coming on through. No-Tail taking a lot of hits here, and that is going to be the first blood for Solo. He will fall in the end, but he's happy to do so. He gets the full experience, No-Tail does not. And, of course, that first goal of Blood Bounty going for him specifically. So he has his boots. He will be able to pick up pretty much whatever small item before he moves in towards that Blink Dagger. And, yeah, getting a huge experience advantage. As now he has 450 experience per minute over No-Tail's 328. So big, big advantage for the moment.
Shadow Demon, what are you doing? He's kind of lurking behind the enemy team. It looks like they want to go in, and Gyrocopter's being aggressive.
Yeah, good stun onto Era, though. The barrage wouldn't have finished off Slaughter by any means, but it still was a very, very painful damage coming on through, and he's going to have to pop off that salve. Running short on regen, actually. It looks like they pretty much are out. 1 salve left on the Shadow Demon, and that's all they really have to work with left on this lane. Something to keep in mind is Batrar is going to get his lasso very, very shortly, and Rubik's only going to be level 5 at the time, so always got to keep tabs on that mid lane. And, yeah, he has hit level 6 just now. So, surprisingly, yeah, the kills are going on in the mid lane, but not on the top. You'd figure this lane would be a little bit more aggressive. Any thoughts on why it's being so passive right now? And Dangle Brock on bottom, actually. He's going to rage out of it, right-click on the bear to burn it down. But now he is on 52 HP. Goes under, and Trixie gets the kill. So,
it's really not the lanes we expect the kills on. So a Lone Druid is solo killing a lifestealer. That should not be happening.
Yeah, he got too greedy. He wanted to get that bear kill and thought he could get out alive. But, yeah, in that situation, even the South Shield didn't block. Essentially, that's exactly what it was. A range auto attack, 66 damage. If it blocked, he would have survived, but he got greedy on that small % chance, and it didn't work out. And on the mid, like I said, the lasso being a very big threat. Solo's, I didn't catch it, but Solo is actually able to lasso down from the high ground and bring the Rubik down into the river, where he's pretty much 100% screwed.
Yeah, what you said about top lane, it's pretty simple, because Fnatic, they're not an aggressive defensive trial, and they don't want to kill. They can't really kill. They don't have a stun, sort of. Well, Gyrocopter has a stun, but it doesn't really count. So if RoX.KiS jump on them and get a nice disruption, a nice Lina stun, then there's still a full Keeper of the Light Illuminate, and then there's still a Nightmare and a Brain Sap. So they're super good at counter-initiating. So if RoX.KiS do it wrong, they could 2 or 3 heroes die. And Fnatic are happy with this, because they're pulling, they're farming, they're good with this. Because they think that their carry will be stronger than a Slaughter in the late game. So far we're waiting for something to happen. No-Tail is being aggressive now in middle, but he can't really do anything about sticky napalm. As soon as you have 2-3 stacks on you, you're moving on the spot.
Yeah, interestingly enough, he actually stole the stick napalm, so he's putting out a little bit on Solo, but he immediately pops that regen rune, tries to bring No-Tail into his clutches with that lasso being available, but still just kind of being that impending threat, has plenty of mana to spare, and just trying to make sure that he's putting the pressure out and staying on top of him as much as he can. Business Perfect has his phase boots now, so he's actually able to stay on top of Trixie extremely well, based on the fact that Trixie opted for boots on each of his heroes, or each of his units, I guess. The Bear has some boots, the Lone Druid has some boots. It's good for exchanges where he gets these entangle procs here, but that Feast is just so darn strong, maxed out, and is able to just bring Business Perfect back up to full HP almost every single right click.
The problem about the try versus try is that Gyrocopter's getting ahead in levels. At the moment they're both level 4, but Slaughter just hit level 4 while Gyrocopter's almost level 5. And the supports aren't getting much out either. I like the hero level drop down thing. So if you can bring that up, because I think it tells so much about how everything is going, and so far the supports aren't getting much, and now they're all moving into middle, including the Slaughter. who has a sprint level 2 and a crush level 2. They really want that No-Tail dead. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, they are really gunning for him here, putting pressure on the tower a little bit here and there. They're just really looking for that opportunity. They can flame break him out of position, they can get the kill, but meanwhile on top lane, Fnatic taking a small opportunity to actually push really hard on the tower. A flat cannon going on out, and Illuminate already went down, so they are really going to put some damage on in, but here is an opening where RoX.KiS was looking for. They wanted to go on in and try to find an opportunity to actually find some kills. They move on up, but a little bit spread out. They know that they can't engage up that small entrance on the cliff, and instead they're just going to fall back from there. So really, yeah, very bloodless engages so far, as if it just put pressure out when they find a small window of opportunity.
Yeah, Fnatic is starting to be aggressive now, because now they have the levels, and there was actually a TP by the Keeper of the Light bottom, and they were almost able to kill of Lifestealer, but he had Rage, so he dodged that Illuminate. And if RoX.KiS just go 3 heroes missing, then it's pretty obvious that they're planning something, so No-Tail just stayed in the trees and was safe behind his tower. Now Bedride is looking for him, but he's already gone.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to try to find him in just an easy little opportunity where he's, just hiding out on the side, but No-Tail very, very knowledgeable about those interactions, and seeing a double damage, he doesn't even want to be anywhere near that lane. Down on bottom, there is some flanking coming out in. They're actually going to go on through the tower, gets denied by life, so they go in for this disruption. The Soul Catcher lands on him as well. Trixie tries to pop out that ultimate, but he is going to be killed solo. Or no, actually Shadow Demon picking that up as the last hit. So that is yet another kill for the Shadow Demon, 2-1-1. And he's going to have that Blink Dagger so darn quickly. He's teleporting back to mid, farms up a couple creep waves, and he's going to have it. And that's going to be so much potential there.
And now No-Tail has Sticky Napalm, and he's going to return it. He's going to be so happy to return it.
We do say up on top lane that there's the Nightmare, there's the call down, big damage coming out from the barrage. It is skilled up to rank 3, but the right clicks is actually going to be enough right here. Bread is just going to fall. Actually gets a crush onto
nice try.
But in the end he does fall.
Such a strong combination. Just Nightmare a target, and then you can channel the Illuminate and wait for the cooldown to kick in. Then basically anyone is dead, and that is... It's a Slaughter. He has a stout shield against the right click, and he has power threats, and he's a strength hero. He still died.
Exactly. Tier 1's going to fall here, but they did actually get another kill onto the Rubik. He only has regular brown boots, so 340 MS, slowed down by the Napalm continuously. He's actually very, very immobile, and it's difficult to get on out. So Solo closed the distance, had the Napalm stacks, was able to Firefly and Lasso to burn him down. And of course that's giving more and more advantage to this Batrider. Now it's almost 600 experience per minute, just now hitting his Blink Dagger and finding an invisibility rune. I mean, could the game get any better for him right now?
I'm currently looking at the Lone Druid and wondering what item he's buying. He now has up his face boots on the bear and the Orb of Venom on the bear, so now he can either go the armlet build, which is very popular,
actually getting open wounds up. The Flame Break
die.
overshoots. He does recall the bear into the action, trying to peel himself off with a good Entangle Proc. Could come out on solo, but not lucky enough, unfortunately. Finally, the last right click comes on through, but here's that Firefly putting him. He's going to go off the grid, up on the cliff here, and try to avoid any damage possible. There's an Illuminate to connect, but still 130 HP to work with, and coming on through. Actually, the call down.
Ooh.
Really good use of the call down, because he's like up on the cliff here. There's actually no real way to connect to him, but with that call down to lock him in, he's actually going to be able to get that damage across in a position that they otherwise couldn't possibly.
I was a bit unlucky that they didn't get a Entangle earlier.
Yeah,
I was wondering
seriously.
because I saw a very strange game yesterday. Well, the Spirit Bear wouldn't entangle anymore after he got Orb of Venom for like 50 hits. So I was curious if it was that bug again, because it was really strange.
Yeah, it's very awkward, because the Phase Boost Orb of Venom, you're right, he got like 6 or 7 auto attacks on the Batrider easily, and not a single one. He just needed one Entangle to guarantee the kill, but not a single one came on out. Either way, that's a lot of time and pressure put out on Trixie that comes to no avail. Good rotation from Fnatic, and they do respond very appropriately to that rough situation.
And now Fnatic are grouping up in mid, just Era is going back to farm.
Blink going on in.
Now
Solo picks off on the Keeper Light. He's down in the river, and he's going to die very, very quickly here.
Oh. Our Gyrocopter is going Shadow Blade after all, so he wants that. Even though with Slaughter on the field, he still wants to be invisible and hit very hard. Oh, he's going Battle Fury, but I very much doubt that.
Oh no, he's definitely going for the Shadow Blade there. He's definitely, I mean, it's a great item, even without taking the invisibility into consideration. You still get a great amount of attack speed, a good burst of physical damage. But actually, Bread initiating on right here, the amplified damage comes out, and they do have the Shadow Demon to back him up. Vonscore doesn't have an ulti though, and actually Era turning around beautifully, going down. He's going to try to do some damage on the Vonscore, who's slowed down by the call down. Needs a couple more right clicks. Flat cannon in 5 seconds. He can just right click down the next creep, the tower. That's what he's going to do. Oh no, he closed the distance. He has move speed advantage, so he doesn't even need it. but what he could have done there, because he wasn't afraid of any retaliation, he could have even continued as far as the tier 2 tower, pop flak in and right-clicked it twice, and then suddenly the Shadow Demon would have fallen. But that movement speed advantage is plenty for him, as support's only running on brown boots right now.
What a misplay by the Shadow Demon. That was...
Yeah,
it would have been such an easy kill on Era if they just disrupted him and did it in the right order, but Slaughter running in, then Shadow Demon like, should I go in, should I not go in, and then they're both dead.
Exactly.
That was not the best play ever, but they still have a chance. It wasn't too bad. Although you don't want to give a Gyrocopter 2 free kills, because he has that Shadow Blade up pretty soon, just a couple more minutes, and then it's getting dangerous for RoX.KiS.
Yeah. I personally don't like the on the solo the Tranquil Boots pickup. I feel that the Bat Rider, if he doesn't have that movement speed, the Firefly, the lasso, I mean, it's all about mobility. And then if you get a couple right clicks coming on in, because you are going to be the one blinking and initiating aggressively, I feel that you could actually screw yourself over. Simple telekinesis, and suddenly you're thrown back into the enemy, and you're going to be only having 25 bonus MS from those Tranquils when they're broken. It actually is worse than Brown Boots, and I really think that Solo could have been opting for something different, maybe treads for more survivability, but pretty much what this means is they're going for quick hit-and-run tactics. They want to go in and get out really, really quickly, and it looks like that's going to be accomplished pretty well with this infested lifesteal inside, looking for the Nakes Bomb on the Bane, going on in here. Yeah, Hani flame breaked on in, there's the infest, there's the damage with the lasso, and Hani's going to fall very, very swiftly here. So 6-6, they even it up, and look for possibly the tier 1 in the mid.
Lifesteal also bought an Orb of Venom. That's not something we see a lot, but he just apparently wants a little bit of extra slow. Although they have good control, they have a Lina Stun, they have a Slaughter Crush, so it's interesting that he buys Orb of Venom. It's not something you usually see.
I think it was mostly for the laning phase. He did so much work against Trixie. He got so many right clicks in on the bear, feasting on away, whatever, what have you. But Solo's actually in a bad spot here. The Tranquil Boots are broken. Look how darn slow he is with that open wound stolen. He does get defensively destruction nicely. Big damage coming out from the Lina. Bursting down on Hani, trying to finish him off once more, but here comes the call down. The Bat Rider's already fallen, looking for more on Bond score. He should fall here shortly after the fact. Arrow picking up a mega kill streak, and that Shadow Blade looks like to be, yeah, on its way. So he is raring to go. Wants to really put up the aggression. Gloves are off, and they're going to go in for the kill. Maybe some ganks, maybe some push, but either way, a lot of pressure coming out from the Gyro at this stage in the game.
I'm not sure what Bat Rider's plan was there. He was blinking in without having lasso, without having anything, into 4 enemy heroes, and then he was wondering why he couldn't move anymore. Tranquil Boots are great if you're going into the jungle as a Dark Zero, as an Axe and Pups or whatever, but you should buy something good as soon as you can, because he's the one who's supposed to jump in and drag a target out. You can't drag anyone out at 25 extra movement speed.
Exactly. And then on top of that, just to add a little salt and wound, Rubik gets stolen open wounds. Yeah, it's only a rank 1 or rank 2, but it's still an extra slow on top of that, and they were able to lock him down pretty hardcore. So Bat Rider not accomplishing too much there, and now we see actually the amplified damage picked up, which it's a little weird as far as a spell steal. You don't really think about it. You think of track comparatively a lot more on Rubik, but amplified damage, I mean, you're going to be, the one thing is Lifestealer when he's raged is going to be only taking physical damage. Era. Yeah, big pick off there. They do another Nakes Bomb. They get the lasso off on him, and Era just trying to farm away. He feels this ground is safe right here, but with that Blink Dagger, with the fact that they can always just jump on in like that, you can't really take that kind of ground for granted. So going on in, that is going to be a nice pick off once again. Solo assisting Lifestealer on that kill.
Fnatic have nice wards out in the middle and bottom area of the map. If you just switch, I think if you can use your function keys, you can see it. But up there, it wasn't really safe.
Yeah, he's actually going to get the Soul Catcher off here. Demonic Purge will come out as well, so No Tail's actually going to drop down here. A little bit of over-aggression. He thought that he could do a lot more here, and instead, yeah, he's going to pay for it. Hani coming in to try to assist him, but now he's amplified up. He's taking damage from Firefly. He's going to get crushed, and from there, he should die. So, yeah, another misplay. Another position that they just don't need to be in right here. We were talking about how they were playing defensive early on, and I feel they kind of switched gears way too quickly. They jumped in from defensive, okay, we have 2 or 3 good items and some good levels. Suddenly, we're diving in the enemy's jungle with, I mean, they had good vision, but it just wasn't good enough in the sense that they weren't prepared for the retaliation that ensued.
The problem is that the good items they have are not on the heroes that we're walking with. Sure. Okay, they have a Blink Dagger on Rubik, but the damage of Gyro and Spirit Bear wasn't with them. And Spirit Bear, or more like Lone Druid, has an armlet in 400 gold. So then he's gonna start dealing damage, and they're probably gonna look into taking some towers. as B just takes the mid tower.
Yeah, this is perfect. Able to bring down tier 1 in mid, and that's actually their first tower, so it's really good for him. But getting picked off here, he has to infest, and he's in a pretty rough spot. It looks like he will be fine. They didn't go for the Fiend's Grip. Honey wasn't close enough there. I kind of feel like they could have been okay for Honey to be in that position. As far as a Lina combo at level 7 plus infest damage, I think he still could have actually survived with a good 50 to 100 HP. And as long as they had good follow-up, I think they could have actually taken down the lifestealer there. But Hani playing it safe, and I can't blame them in that situation.
And now they're actually looking into pushing mid. Their gyrocopters with them, and no, they're actually are they gonna go Roshan now? That would be pretty dangerous, and I don't think they're gonna do that.
No, heading down, they're going to actually go for this Ancients. It's been stacked up quite a number of times, and I think that's really, really good for Era. Rank 4 flat cannon, so he's going to be able to deliver 6 auto attacks to every single one of these here. And Illuminate, I guess it hits on those lesser dragons, but that's about it. Either way, yeah, so they're not going to be able to pick that up just yet, waiting for the next cooldown. But actually, with this Observer Ward active, they had this Observer Ward from the Radiant. They saw what was going on in general in this position, and I think they know about this smoke. So right now, Solo is in a bad position. Maybe they didn't catch it. Maybe they were just
Solo
had general vision, but now Solo is definitely going to get picked here. There's the Fiend's Grip. I'm not even sure if they needed it since they have a Blink Telekinesis, but nevertheless bringing him down. And getting a kill on the Solo mid, that's actually going to help them out a ton experience-wise, splitting up his level 13 and just kind of dissecting it, putting it among the rest, taking their own share of it. So they're in a good position now, and I think that Fnatic can actually go in for a tier 1 push if they... or actually Roche, that's actually better. That's a much better advantage for this stage in the game, because if Era has an Aegis the Immortal and a Shadow Blade, there's nothing stopping him from just diving in aggressively and dishing out a ton of damage.
Yeah, now they're 4 and 5 because Lone Druid actually joined them, and like you said, if Era has his Aegis, then he can finally buy a Divine, and then we can look at that. I really hope. It's so funny because Divine has never been in competitive play just because it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
And then suddenly people realize, wow, Flag Cannon, that deals 100% split damage on everyone. It's on a ranged hero, let's buy Divine.
Exactly, exactly. So it's like, you could do it for late game Medusa or something like that, but that was in ages gone by, and in Dota 2 at least, it wasn't until people really started realizing the carry potential of Gyrocopter. He got a couple of buffs left and right, bringing him back into the competitive scene, and once people started carrying away with him, they're like, you know, screw it, go all in, and started turning around matches left and right, and it's now something that's considered very viable. All you need is a Dominator and a BKB, and suddenly it's a stable pickup for a hero that otherwise wouldn't have a chance. So interesting way it's worked itself out there, but I'm not sure if he's going to go that actively on it. He's definitely going for the Yasha right now. A lot of gyros like to go for the movement speed build.
Lone Druid.
Ooh, actually, a nice pick off there. Trixie's in a bad spot. No-Tail will try to help him out here, but Lifesteal is raged up. Gonna be hard to peel him here. They go for the Fiend's Grip. They lock him down. No-Tail right-clicking very, very quickly with that Stolen Rage. They're gonna be able to bring down Biz. Perfect. So actually just a 1 for 0. Looking for more here. Era is on top of things. Just has to drop a call down and he can finish it off, but the right clicks are sufficient. They does get purged on up, so he's not going to be able to pursue, but you can't say the same about the bear. The Flame Break will push him up on the cliff. No, the bear doesn't connect. Oh, so sad from No-Tail. Very unfortunate Flame Break. Oh, Lone Druid actually got picked. Lina was able to clean him up. I was wondering why that bear just keeled on over, but Lone Druid took the wrong route. Everybody else went up in the river. Lone Druid...
They're not stopping.
Not stopping just yet. On mid lane, Bread popped off that BKB, trying to dish out some damage here, but Era answering back a ton. That Aegis is going to drop down, but I'm curious to see if they can answer back. He has that Shadow Blade, a lot of damage. The Light Strike Ray is going to try to time it. They pop off the dust, but they don't get the amplified damage. He is still dusted running. There's the amp, but they don't have a Light Strike Ray just yet. Fred locking him down with the Slithering Crush, but there is the Keeper Light with right clicks. He doesn't even have mana for Chakra, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. But no, I think Fnatic shouldn't have gone that far. Like, they got an extra kill or whatever, but it cost them. They lost the Lone Druid. And there was just deaths that they didn't really need to expend, especially that Aegis the Immortal.
RoX.KiS could have played that a bit smarter. They're not 100% on the mark with their spells, especially the Shadow Demon is sometimes not disrupting when he could save someone, and the Slaughter actually activated his BKB in the middle and then completely missed his crush. So even with that, they still turned it around decently, and now Era, he really needs that Manta style. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, it breaks the amplified damage, just like it breaks track. So
yeah,
he can get rid of that, because it would he takes so much damage. It's, on the highest level, it's -20 armor, and each armor point is 6% physical hit points. So now you can do the maths and calculate how much more damage you take if you have that on you.
Absolutely, exactly. But yeah, that is a lot of potential for their late game, and that's something they're going to be looking at for very, very shortly. I actually like the Slaughter build in this situation. A lot of times you see the blink before the BKB, but in this spot, if you jump on in with no BKB active, you're going to have a lot of problems based on the fact that, actually, no, Solo's not going to find his target. Anyways, yeah, but if you blink on in without BKB, you're going to get telekinesis or blinding lighted when the Keeper Light has that ulti active, which of course he does now. Other things like call down, barrage damage, it's all going to come forth very, very quickly. So if he blinks in without a BKB, there's just no chance, especially when you have to activate Sprint afterwards, which amplifies your damage received by 15%. So by going for the BKB now, all he has to do is just pop the BKB, sprint on in, and although he'll take a few more damage from right clicks, in general he's going to be very comfortable just walking on in there and following on up with whatever Solo brings to the table. So Solo, their primary initiator, Red, like I said, their follow-up, and he adds quite a bit of disable. And then we'll kind of see how it plays out from there. But they really, really need to get something more on the lifestealer. Right now, he's sitting on the Armlet and the Desolator. Combining the Desolator with Amplified Damage is an immense increase of damage. As long as you're not capping out at the negative 20 armor value, you're actually going to be able to dish out a ton. Actually, I think Dota 2 doesn't have a negative 20 armor cap just yet. Dota 1 did,
so.
but
I think
Dota 2 hasn't been
as much
changed
as
yet.
you want.
So,
another thing you talked about during the draft is look at the item chart. There's no mech up on RoX.KiS side yet, and that's exactly what you talked about. They have an urn on the Lina, but that's all, and the Keeper of the Light is getting up a mech on the enemy side. And it's hard pushing against the Keeper of the Light if you don't have a mech or a pipe or anything.
Exactly.
Because your creeps are just gone.
So Fnatic can turtle this out actually extremely effectively with a little bit of split push on the lone druid to make it a little bit more frustrating for RoX.KiS, and that Illuminate you were just mentioning. Yeah, without a mech, without a pipe, they're gonna have trouble taking down tier 2s, let alone breaching high ground. And we see right now that Fnatic has been holding onto their towers quite effectively. So I really, really think that it's going to be harder and harder for them unless they start getting pickoffs, which they've been looking for desperately. Actually, the lifestealer has been infested inside Solo this entire time. Actually, he was infested for over 100 seconds. Like, his cooldown's already back up. He could have technically gone for like one of those crazy double infests where he does like twice as much burst damage in the initial strike, but no, it's just like he's been there for 100 seconds looking and looking and looking, but Solo just hasn't found anyone. As Fnatic has some pretty good had some pretty good wards up. They've expired since then, but yeah, they've just in general been in great positions where they don't have to worry about those kind of pickoffs.
And what you just said about the infest graph, what the infest shows so much on the XP graph, because they're just losing out on experience. Nyx could farm a lot in those 100 seconds, and they're just hoping for a lucky sniper when he can farm twice as much gold in the time. And also the gold graph is kind of even because both sides are farming well, but it's just Fnatic. They're just pressuring at the moment, and they're gonna find Lina.
Yeah, they find him in the
She's
trees,
joking,
they finally
bro.
get the vision, and there we go. Burst damage like crazy. That was just like 2 seconds. I mean, that's how low of an HP value you're looking at there. And later on, Gyrocopter's going to be able to chew through that kind of low HP, low armor by himself in a very, very short period of time. So I'm actually really, really concerned for RoX.KiS at this stage because their supports aren't finding levels. They're level 7 and level 10. And, you know, that's okay. But other than a big Laguna Blade burst, what they're going to be mostly looking at is just being destroyed by the suppressive fire of Flak Cannon. So that's going to be able to bring things down very quickly. And with Era being able to Manta out of a couple of different things, the open wounds, the amplified damage, those kind of factors will come into play where there's a lot of burst damage. We see finally Biz is Perfect locking down a infest gank. Solo been looking for that all game long, but finally finding out on no tail. And
that rider was invisible, so
that hurt. That certainly helps. That 100% does.
I was about to give very big props to Hani and generally Fnatic for having great wards out. Just look at the map. They have vision everywhere, but it doesn't really help you against an invisibility rune, so Rubik died there. But apart from that, they see everything. That's why they can go just into the enemy jungle and find a single hero, because they know exactly where the enemy is. And now they're pushing top.
Yeah, and they feel very confident in this position here. They don't necessarily know that Biz has been farming their Ancients, but that short time period forces out this fortification, and they can at least leave the Bear here to do what they want. They Manta, leave the Illusions, and they Invis away with the Gyrocopter. They're going for the Bear that actually will be able to be recalled, though they're not actually focusing on that. So Solo really wants to close the distance. He does get the Flame Break technically on Trixie, but then Tegalbrock comes around. They're going for a turnaround, but it's actually going to be a 5 versus 2. going on in. Era taking a lot of hits right here, dueling out with Bread. He might be able to get the kill with the help of the lone Druid. Oh, one more right click. They do get it here, but they're not prepared for anything more. Laguna Blade comes out, Trixie dropping low, and will be right clicked on down. Entangle Proc finishes off the Lina, though, so it's technically a 2 for 3. How did Batrider drop? Actually, on the eastern end, a Batrider was... no, Gyrocopter was able to kill him with the flat cannon. So just bursting down, they were able to get so much AoE damage with that rank 3 cooldown and the max flat cannon. They were actually able to bring down 3 heroes for just their 2. And that was a full team 5v2. That's ridiculous.
What are you doing there? He could be in a little bit of danger if there's someone else with damage coming in there. Rubik is just blinking and force stuffing over. And
they're delaying as much as possible. The Fiend's Grip is the time window they need, and here it comes. The Illuminate damage will come on through, and No-Tail adding in that quick little burst and bringing him down. So good patience, because if they had gone prior to that No-Tail's presence, they might have not been able to get the kill, but certainly with him, they were able to get a 4th kill for those 2. So that is really, really racking up points for Fnatic as they move in 17 to 14.
Very, very overconfident by Lifestealer, just staying around after the fight. He has Rage, yes, he has Infest, yes, and Phase Boots and a TP and Magic Wand, but that doesn't really help you against the Bane.
And now this mechanism's up for the Keeper of the Light, so Ezreal having that for his team means that they're always going to have that 250 HP buffer that RoX.KiS really don't have and won't have for a very long time, especially since Shadow Demon was the one to buy the Geometry Sight that now rests on Batrider. Von Score has 680 gold to his name, Magic Stick, TP Scroll, and Boots. I mean, this is a support in its truest nature as far as item sets go, and he's going to be very, very far behind of those major utility items.
In the meantime, we have already up a Ghost Scepter on Hani, and that's going to help against the Nakes and against the Slaughter. The problem with Fnatic is they are extremely strong, we have a lot of damage, but against Amplify damage you can't really do anything apart from Mant-Out, and we saw that on the top lane. Gyrocopter is dealing a lot of damage, and Slaughter, with just a BKB, was able to bring him down first. And now he has a Blink Dagger on Slaughter. That could be big.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of potential there. Playing full Initiation Slider, have a lot of potential with that, but he still needs to get some levels. He would love to get that level 16, a lot more potential here. I was talking about before about that bug Batrider Firefly. Look at the vision that they're actually provided. The Radiant here can see all the Secret Shop stuff, see the bear, and if they want to pursue onto what this Ancients actually, it's just going to be the stacked up Ancients. So Fnatic playing very, very cautiously and very, very wisely, but Blink comes on in, and they're actually going down onto bottom. Solo still has Lifesteal infested on in, so they're ready for a full 5-man engage, but Fnatic is as well. They have the mechanism, they have an Illuminate charging, and they're ready to go. They're going to counter push this wave, and if anybody jumps on in, it's going to be very, very painful for them. But for right now, the Bear's the only one on the front line, and it looks like not really too much is going to happen. They go in again for that Firefly. Solo wanting a pick-off. He does have that infested Lifestealer, but actually, yeah, they still do. But the pick isn't going to be found. Like, they don't have anybody that they can really pull out of position that hardcore. Meanwhile, Tier 2 on top is taking some hits, and they're actually going to TP to try to get the they're not going to get a deny, but they're going to be able to just keep it alive for now. But breaking apart their line, they really can't go forward with this.
That's what I said. Pushing against Keeper of the Light, and then they have a very obvious initiation by Batrider, and if you know how to play against the Batrider, you just know that you stay back, and Batrider's in a smart position at the moment with the Nakes, and now they're going into Roshan.
This could be really bad for them, but Slaughter is so far away. Slaughter won't participate. And I'm not sure. I mean, they might be able to snipe up the Aegis, might be able to burst people down unexpectedly. It looks like Fnatic's just going to go on the 2 that are exposed. Going in, the disruption won't mean anything because the ult gets dropped down immediately. There goes the Infest. Hani going for the Fiend's Grip on Solo. Does get the Ghost Scepter out just to survive. He might walk out of this alive. This is perfect and tangled up, but here comes Fred, changing that thought completely with a beautiful blink. Slytherin Crush. There's the Magic Stop from Era. There's the lasso onto No-Tail. Solo taking a lot of hits though, and he will be dropped with that Entangle. Big Illuminate coming out through Bomb Score. Going to be cleaned up here with one more right click. Gyrocopter Illusion can do it by himself, and Business Perfect will fall. Red to be next, and they get the Geometry Sight as well. Full 5-man swing. They lose 2 heroes. They pop a buyback, but they get the Geometry Sight, and they're about to get the Roche as well. Huge fight for Fnatic, and it might just be the last thing that RoX.KiS ever has a chance to do.
RoX.KiS was a bit too split up. They had the bad. Can you see when I draw on the map? Actually, I'm never really sure. Can you see this?
If I'm looking at your position, but where are you at?
No, I was just saying that Batrider was somewhere up on the Roche pit, and there was the rest coming in through the Radiant jungle, and Slaughter was too far away, and when everything was already going on, Slaughter jumped in, and I think he got a crush on 1 or 2 heroes only, and then it was already too late, and both teams split up, but Fnatic was able to just deal more damage, and everyone stayed alive and got out early enough. And of course they had a mech.
Oh gosh.
Mech and Ghost
Such
Scepter.
low life. 4 staffing port era, 1 more right click, all he needs. Black cannons onto the tower, propagates on through as long as he has vision, and now he just delivers the hurt to the tower. He could pop his Manta here and just destroy this tower, but surprisingly, Era wants to keep it intact for the moment and just make sure that he doesn't have to worry about that pesky Slaughter Amplify blink.
No, I know why he's waiting. He needs to buy Divine first. Oh no, he's buying
going for
Aegis.
Butterfly.
Like, that's boring, Era.
It's
Where's
actually
the
very
Divine?
effective though, because they don't have any way to hit on those evaded strikes. They don't have an MKB for a very long time. Lifesteal has like 2 other items that he has to go before he actually picks up that MKB. So he actually has to have a little bit more HP than just a 25 strength boost. And in this situation, I think that Butterfly is just going to demolish their lineup. You don't have to worry about bashes. You don't, even if Lifesteal picks up a Skull Basher, don't have to worry about that. The intrinsic bash of Slardar, that's going to be avoided. It's kind of the same reason that the Bane picked up the Ghost Scepter. Because he'll be immune to right clicks, he won't have to worry about the Slardar actually bashing him up. He just has to worry about that crush itself. So, I don't know, eliminating some threats at the very least.
And now there's an illusion war going on top, and they actually...
Lasso on the
actually
illusion, oh my
hold
gosh, they
on.
went all in. They thought, why would you think? I mean, there's 2 next to each other, just feeding it away. This is a huge throw right here. Era has that Aegis. He's just delivering so much right click damage. Laguna does come out, but the barrage will finish off the Yul. No earn heal for you. Triple kill, unstoppable spree. And that was just, I mean, I don't think they could have really won this game at this stage because they're so far behind, but holy shit, was that just throwing it away. Going in, there's 2 gyrocopters next to each other, and you lasso one of them. That doesn't even make sense. This is perfect, guys. They do actually might get spread out. No, Slizer's press stolen. No kill forecasting to clean it up, and all they got was the Aegis. 5-0 swing. Fnatic just cleans it up 100%, but that initiation was just no.
Well, mistakes happen. It happens to everyone. There was a clip called Fails at the International, and some of them were hilarious, and you'd think, how can that ever happen? But it happens, we're all just humans, but they could have just immediately yelled, get out, everyone get out, but even Slaughter, the fight was over and he was running in. That was not necessary. You can lose a fight, you can do something stupid, but then you have to not go all in after that.
Let me put it this way, if the Manta style, if the one that he lassoed was actually Gyrocopter, where he had one illusion next to the real one, it would have been a big play, a huge, huge play. We do see initiation on No-Tail. He is taking a lot of hits here, but force staffs himself after the lasso expires. Going for the telekinesis, he will get dropped down. No, he's still out of range. He bottles away, and they are still up and kicking. Here's Arrow with that Shadow Blade bursting on through, and Feeble up on the lifesteal. He won't be able to retaliate. There's Arrow with the last right click. No tower vision means you can't clog that armlet in time, and he's actually going to get dropped down. There's the Rax to finish it off as well. So yeah, like I said, it could have been an immense play if it just happened to be Era trying to do some big mind games and then getting outplayed by Solo, but you know, that was just a bit too hopeful for them, and instead, of course, they lose very, very convincingly from Fnatic just taking it away. Going in, stealing up the stun once again, or just using it over and over and over. Either way, Brett's going to get locked down here, and Era just farmed away. 16-2 and 11. Gyrocopter carrying it up.
Let's look at the gold graph to end this game, and it tells the story. Fnatic was playing smart, they were farming as long as they needed to, and then they just rolled over RoX.KiS and now win in 35 minutes. There's not a GG call yet, but it's pretty much over. Era is beyond godlike, like so often on his Gyrocopter. I'm a bit disappointed, no Divine, but still, convincing game.
Gosh, that Divine Gyrocopter. No, but I mean, it wasn't. The Divine Rapier is something you build when you have to take that risk to win the game. When you feel you're so far behind, your Phantom Lancer's farming out, he picked up his heart or something, you need to turn it around. That's where Divine comes in. Otherwise, you know, just pick up MKB, Butterfly, Dominator, whatever. So, in this situation, it was highly unnecessary, and I think Era made the right choice for going for that Butterfly. I obviously can't contest it with a win. The results kind of speak for themselves here, but yeah, interesting game nevertheless. It was a little bit quiet at the laning phase. They broke it out and started going for some interesting ganks here. Some good plays from Solo, some bad plays from Solo, but in the end, they played together as a team. RoX.KiS did, and unfortunately, it just didn't pan out for them this time around. They're going to get a second chance here with going on into this best-of-3 series. They lose Game 1, but we're going to be having Game 2 coming up in just a little bit for you guys. So this is, again, the part of the We Play Dota 2 Cup Phase 2. We're in Group B here, and we're going to be checking out who's going to be taking away this match between Fnatic and RoX.KiS. If it's going to be a 2-0 shutout, or if it's going to be equalized up and RoX.KiS gives it a fighting shot. Either way, this has been fun to cast for you guys. It's been I'm Blaze, this is Maruna, and do you have any other closing thoughts on the game?
No, but if you want, you can follow my Twitter. I'm always very happy to have new people follow my Twitter. It's at Maruna_Dota. And I'm gonna paste it in the chat at the moment. And what is your Twitter? We should
Sure.
promote that a little bit.
Yeah, /BlazeCasting is what that would be, or at BlazeCasting. And I'm
Follow us.
I'm still trying to get the hang on the Twitter thing. I've tweeted about 150 times or something like that, so I've kind of gotten the feel of it. I understand the whole interaction social media there, but I still need to get better at it. So somebody got like a pro Twitter guide, I'd totally check that out. Either way, at BlazeCasting or /BlazeCasting or however you go for that. Either way. Yeah, interesting game. We'll go on into game 2 in just a little bit, guys. Putting on some music until then, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.